Late this January, we decided to do a very last-minute kind of trip over to Utah to visit some areas we'd not seen before. First one was at Deer Valley, which we enjoyed very much. We're riding up the old Mayflower lift and looking at some nice bumps, which unfortunately were very hard and icy. Now Sue's standing at the top of a run leading down into what is the village at Deer Valley, although it has very limited commercial space in it, and consequently probably isn't as inviting as it should be. After skiing a bit, we went to the Empire Canyon Lodge, where we had a fabulous lunch, much better food than we're used to on the mountain. Sue a Korean salad, me a panini, and some wonderful homemade chips. After lunch, we found a really neat little terrain park near the Snow Park Lodge. It's artificially created pillow-sized bumps that are wonderful for teaching anyone how to stay in the fall line while skiing in a bump run. Shortly, I'll frame the camera back up the hill and you'll see Sue coming down. It's a very shallow slope. It makes it extremely easy for the skier to maintain a constant pace in these bumps, and really is a wonderful little training aid. We'll hope that we are able to get something like this established over in Vail. Just past the terrain park, there was a huge construction site. A building called Montage is going up. 3 cranes at the site means it's a huge project. There was also a very large Ritz going up just across. Sue's walking down the steps out of Cushing's cabin up at the top of Flagstaff Mountain. There are 3 high-speed lifts that terminate up here. The cabin itself was more or less a warming hut with a little bit of food service. Day 2, we drove up Big Cottonwood Canyon to visit the area called Solitude. We thought it would be much smaller than it is, but actually it's fairly well developed. A nice day lodge and, of course, a little village here that has a number of condos and some commercial. We had a wonderful breakfast here of a lingonberry crepe. Sue's making some very nice turns on a run called Main Street, an intermediate run toward the base of the mountain. The upper part of the mountain that was more interesting skiing was not good snow. On our 3rd day, we visited the Snowbird resort up Little Cottonwood Canyon. First run of the day was taken off the tram you see here. We went to the top and tried skiing down into Mineral Basin in the back, and the light was so flat we gave up on that process and headed back to the front side where we spent the rest of the day. We moved back and forth between the Peruvian lift and the GAD Zoom lift, which you see here. Off to the right, you're going to see one of the avalanche guns that they use to fix that problem when it happens. Sue's now heading down Gad Valley on a run that's known as the Lunch Run. There's very little in the way of commercial stuff on the mountain. The one restaurant we found is the Mid-Gad restaurant. It was kind of a throwback restaurant to the 70s or 80s, but we did have a decent lunch there, typical mountain fare. Not a particularly good value, but you know, when you're hungry, you eat. So we had a nice time at Snowbird despite the fact that the snow wasn't great. Later in the day, it was almost spring-like conditions. We found lots of slush, so at least we were able to get good grippy snow for our bump skiing. We were going to do a 4th day, but it turned out that the storm was coming in, and we decided to head home after the 3rd one.